This meeting is being recorded.
Perfect. All right, so we're recording now. So we're going to talk about Amazon sellers and trademarks and what you need to know as an Amazon seller. So before we get into trademarks, what I always like to talk about are the 4 branches of IP, which we'll do. Then we'll really dive into trademarks and then talk about the benefits and then have a Q&A in case anyone has any questions. So when we're talking about intellectual property, we're talking about 4 different things, right? Trademarks, which everyone's familiar with, copyrights, patents, and trade secrets. When we say trade secrets, we're really talking about like Coca-Cola's formula, right? It's not registered anywhere. It's not published anywhere in the public. It's something that they keep internally and they guard it. That's trade secrets. Almost every company has trade secrets, whether they realize it or not, but that's what trade secrets is, and it's part of intellectual property. Trademarks, the way I like to explain it is anytime we're talking about slogans, logos, or brand names, those fall under trademarks. For copyrights, we're talking about artwork, about photographs, about plays, paintings, even architecture, right? And then for patents, just think of inventions. That's the easiest way for you guys to understand trademarks, copyrights, and patents. So this is one of my favorite pictures when we're talking about trademarks, because it's got the brand name, it's got the logo, and it's got the slogan. So the swoosh logo that Nike has, that's obviously their logo, and then Nike itself just written out like that, or written any way, doesn't matter what the font is or the color is or the style is, that's protected under trademark 2. That would be the brand name. And then Just Do It is their slogan, that's also protected. So what Amazon accepts are word marks and even design marks, meaning logos, but it has to have text in it, right? It can't just be like Nike's swoosh logo by itself without any text. Otherwise, they won't accept it into Amazon brand registry. So just keep that in mind. And a lot of our clients ask, what makes a good trademark? Like if I'm thinking about doing a brand name, how should I name it? Or is there things that I should do or shouldn't do? There's a few descriptions or a few categories of brand names or trademarks that are not going to be accepted. So first one is going to be generic. That you can't protect, and you're not going to be able to get a trademark for this. The USPTO, which is the federal agency that takes care of trademarks and patents, they're not going to accept anything that's generic. And when we say generic, it's, for example, if I name my law firm lawyer, right, that wouldn't be accepted. The idea is that your competitors and the public needs to also use it. So generic marks wouldn't be accepted. Another example of that is like knife. If you're selling chef knives, your brand name can't be knife. So generic, stay away from that. Descriptive is also very likely not going to be accepted by the USPTO. And examples of that is like if you have a brand that sells batteries, you can't call it long-lasting battery as the brand name, right? You could use that wording to describe your product, but your competitors also need to use that. So you can't protect and own long-lasting battery if you're just selling batteries. Speedy for delivery service, you also are not going to be able to do that. Now, next we get into suggestive, and this is sort of like now they will accept it, right? Now the USPTO will be more likely to accept it. So suggestive would be like no tears if you have a garlic peeler or ACOS Ninja for like PPC optimization software. Those would be considered suggestive, and they would most likely be accepted. But really where you want to be is in arbitrary or fanciful, right? Arbitrary examples are Tesla for automobiles or Apple for computers. Now, Tesla is a real word and Apple is a real word, but they're being used out of context in a different setting, right? So that's considered arbitrary, and that has a pretty strong protection level, and those are considered like good trademarks. But really where you want to be if you can is fanciful in this category. And those would be things like Cisco, and for Cisco would be like for networking equipment, or ESCO, our law firm, for legal services. If you look up ESCO or Cisco in the dictionary, you're not going to find anything. These are made up words. So that's going to get the best protection. So just keep this in mind when you're thinking about creating a brand name. A couple of things that we share with our Amazon sellers / clients that are looking to do a trademark. First thing is make sure that you use that trademark spectrum in the previous page to go ahead and come up with a brand name that is either arbitrary or fanciful. Okay. And second thing is apply for a trademark before you start selling. And the reason we say that is you don't want to be in a situation where one of our clients was about 2 years ago. This client was selling baby products, and they had built a pretty successful brand on Amazon. They were doing around 2.5 million or so, and they had never filed a trademark. And when the time came to file the trademark, they went in and realized that there's another brand that sells similar things, not the exact same thing, but similar things with the same name. And we knew that the USPTO wouldn't accept it because it's so similar. And their options were either one, to fight the other party and sort of get that brand name or somehow negotiate with them, or number two, rebrand. And both of those are pretty expensive options, right? You're looking at around $50,000 to $60,000 for each one of those options, and maybe more if you've got a more popular brand. And now you need to rebrand everything, change the packaging, change your website, get a new domain, change all of your marketing material, and think about all the reputation you've lost with clients, right? If your clients are coming in and they're used to your brand being called ABC, and now you got to change it to 123, they may not even recognize it. So you'll lose a lot of clients and a lot of sales that way. So that's why I always say apply for a trademark before you even start selling. That would be the best thing for you to do for the brand. And then again, number three, this is what I mentioned earlier too. So you need either a standard character or a design mark. You can't just have a logo like I mentioned for Amazon Brand Registry. You need some sort of text. Even if you're going to be doing a logo, you need some sort of text in order for you to be accepted into Amazon Brand Registry. And then number four is pretty simple, but a lot of our clients, I shouldn't say a lot, that's not fair. A few of our clients have done this. Your brand name must exactly match your trademark. So your brand name on Amazon must match what you register with the USPTO as your trademark. Otherwise, Amazon is not going to accept it. As simple as it sounds, we've seen a few people not do that. Number five, what we've noticed in the last few months is Amazon may come back when you're when you're registering for Amazon Brand Registry. They may come back and ask you to provide them with photos of your brand name on the product in order for them to verify that you really are using this brand name on your products. So just keep that in mind. Number six, Amazon Brand Registry early enrollment. Maybe about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, Amazon changed the way that they accept trademark applications. Before, it was if you're using one of Amazon's IP accelerator law firms, then they would let you get into Amazon Brand Registry early within like 2 weeks or so after applying, or actually the entire process would take about 2 weeks or so. As of 2 years ago, they've changed that, and now anyone could get access to early enrollment into Amazon Brand Registry. So what does that mean? It means you could go with our law firm or any other law firm, and once your trademark is pending, meaning you've just applied, USPTO receives your trademark application. At that point, you could get into Amazon Brand Registry. Okay, so you no longer have to wait a year or however long it would take for your trademark to register with the USPTO. Now, within 10 days, you could be in Amazon Brand Registry. Okay. Number 7, foreign entities. So this is anyone outside the US. The USPTO has changed the rules, and you do need an attorney here in the US to file a trademark application for you if you are located outside the US. And then number 8 is just a fun fact. So copyrights expire, patents expire, but trademarks, as long as you're using it, they could last and exist indefinitely. Meaning the brand that you've created, the trademark that you've applied for, that you could use for your lifetime, pass it on to your children, your grandchildren, and so forth. As long as they're using it, it's valid. It does not expire. And then number 9, we've seen a slowdown with applications with the USPTO as far as the timeline that it takes them to process. USPTO, because of COVID and also an influx of trademark applications, they've really slowed down. What used to take around 7 to 9 months is now taking around 9 to 14 months to register. Now, obviously, this doesn't affect your brand registry, since you could get into it within 10 to 14 days. But as far as it registering with the USPTO, it is taking a lot longer. Some benefits for Amazon brand registry. I've listed a few here, but they're always adding more, right? More benefits. One of the things that I really like as a benefit for brand registry applicants or members is you could do like a live stream with your product, sort of like QVC, where it's like home shopping. So you could have an actress or an actor show your product and have that live to Amazon's network. You could do that via video, and that's through brand registry. Otherwise, you get access to new reports that you wouldn't have otherwise, that'll let you know analytics, keywords, searches, and all of that. You have protection over your product listing. So keywords, product title, images, all of that is protected, meaning Amazon recognizes that you are the owner of that listing and that brand. And again, they're always adding more benefits to Amazon brand registry. That's everything that I've got. I'll stop sharing, but any questions? And if no one has any questions, we can go ahead and stop.
There's a case like Mark.
Sorry, say that again.
Match to what we register. I mean, like the mark must exactly match.
How much? So for trademarks, there's really 2 different kinds of applications. One is if you haven't filed, or sorry, you haven't used your trademark in commerce yet, meaning I just have an idea for this brand name and I want to reserve the name, right? Let's assume Red Bull here. Let's say that this is not a product and this is a new product that I'm thinking about launching. And I really like the name Red Bull and I came up with this, but I'm not selling this product anywhere. I'm not doing any marketing. And I say, you know what, I really want to reserve that name so no one else does. Then that would be called a 1B application or intent to use. Intent to use applications with government fees in there, you're probably looking at around $2,000. Okay. Now the other trademark application type is a 1A, meaning you're already using this trademark in commerce on your products and have sales, and now you want to register it. That would be a little cheaper, about $200-300 cheaper, less expensive, and it's usually a faster process, where the 1B application is a bit longer.
Okay.
And then before you do a trademark, you should always get a trademark clearance. Trademark clearances, think of it as like the X-ray before surgery, right? Or like an MRI or a CAT scan before surgery. You want to make sure you know what the landscape looks like, if there's any other marks that may be conflicting or any other issues you may have before you file the trademark. So trademark attorneys, whether, again, if you use us, we'll make sure that you do the trademark search or we do it for you. But We want to do that just so we could come back to you and say, okay, we understand you want to file the trademark. Here are the issues that we found. Here's why we think it'll be a problem, or maybe here's why we don't think it'll be a problem, or maybe it'll be a problem, but here's how we could overcome it. So we want to do all of that and have that conversation before we file the trademark application with the USPTO, because once you file it, the USPTO isn't going to give you any refunds or return your money. So we'd rather have a complete understanding of what can happen and what possible obstacles there are before we file. Now, is any attorney going to be able to find all the issues and all the obstacles? Obviously not, but we'll at least have a better idea of what's going on. Because, for example, if you came to us and said, I want to go ahead and file a trademark application for company ABC, right? If we do our searches and come back and say, dear client, there's already another company called company ABC, and they're selling the same things or similar things as you intend to sell. So we're pretty confident the USPTO is gonna reject your application. That way, we've saved you around 6 months of waiting and a lot of money, right? At that point, now you know it's like, okay, maybe I should change my brand name, right? Or maybe let's look into this other company. I really like this name. I'd rather have it. Would they be willing to sell? Are they even in existence anymore, or do they go bankrupt, right? But at least we could have all that information before we proceed with filing a trademark application.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
I actually have one more. So we already have our original products without brand registration. As you say, like before, you said always brand registered before selling actual product, but we're selling it already, and we tried to register the brand, I think, but we couldn't because like somebody is using it already, or like maybe they started using it like between our like sales. So we can't edit the page, or we can't add any variation to the page. So we're like, what we're doing is like now we have a total different name, like trying to like build new brand, like brand new one. Is it possible to use a brand name to that old product to just edit and then pretend it's a like new brand page?
Yeah.
So we don't want to lose the page.
Yeah, so this is a common issue, believe it or not. Remember earlier we were talking about how whatever issue you're facing, I can promise you at least 100 or maybe 1,000 other sellers are having the same issue. This was a pretty common issue, and Amazon's stance is once a product listing is created, it should stay that way. If you're selling a new product, and in Amazon's eyes, even if it's the same product, but one brand is brand A, the other one is called brand B, they say that those two should have different product listings and different ASINs, right? Now, the issue comes in when on your existing listing, you have a few hundred or a few thousand product reviews. And at that point, we've gone to Amazon's attorneys and said, look, this is our clients, they're rebranding, right? This was what they were before. As a company, they're going through a rebranding, which is common in the real world too. And I'll be very honest with you, it's been a hit and miss with that. Depending on the facts, some of them will go ahead and accept it and change it. And other times they'll say, no, you guys need to create a new listing, right?
And start over.
And start over, yeah. So that's a little bit tougher. What I would suggest is send me an email. I'd like to introduce you to a consultant who may be able to help you guys. But yeah, we could talk about that offline because we are recording. Right. I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.